Hello guys, want to welcome you all on the first video in English on my channel. For the first video in English, I decided to prepare a short review of the game from the Let's. It's going to be the game from Team Heretics versus G2. I thought about creating a series of games that I'm going to review from one team. I decided to take the Team Heretics games because of some of my personal reasons. So in the future there might be more of games of Team Heretics on my channel. So we are not going to talk about the draft phase. We are going to talk about full product that we can see right now. So when we look on the both drafts, first thing that we can see is that the Team Heretics draft is kind of hard to play, especially when we compare it to the G2 draft that is very simple and have for real one objective in the early game, but we will talk about this later. Team Heretics also, I would call this team comp that this team comp is going to be played till you made one mistake that G2 will punish, and then your gameplay in early game and then mid game is going to be kind of troublesome. So as I said, there's one thing in the draft G2 that we need to consider in our plan, is that the draft of G2 is heavily strong on level 6, right? Level 6 from Gragas, from Jarvan, from Malphite. These champions are having incredibly good possibility to create a fight. And we got Draven. That is basically the most important factor in this draft. It's not like when Draven's behind this draft is not working, because you have so many tools that you might get this kill. But when you make Draven ahead, it's much easier for this draft to function. You also created the lane Thresh Draven into the Xayah Rakan that can dominate on the early stage of the game. So basically G2 got one objective in this game, is to secure the early leads for the Draven and then play with the ultimates for one shot of one target and go for the next targets. So G2 got really simple composition. When we will look at the Team Heretics, and here we will talk slightly more about this, because I would like to focus always more on Heretic sides. We got Gwen on the top lane that is providing us really good scaling. So Gwen in this draft is going to be this really hard scaling tool, and that have kind of decent matchup into the Gragas. Gwen can dominate the first 3 levels, right? So she can basically play for the stack 3 waves. In that manner, she can create some division. She can, like I said, dominate Gragas. On the bounce back, she still should be healthy. So Gwen is kind of, champion that is self-efficient in that game. You shouldn't bother a lot about the Gwen, because she going to provide a lot of good scaling and good tools on 2 items. Then we go for the Elise. And Elise role in this draft is kind of interesting, because when someone sees Elise, he thinks that, okay, Elise needs to get ahead. And I do believe that in this draft, the role of the Elise is slightly different, because the Team Heretics got nice scaling drafts, especially about Gwen. So all the Team Heretics should think about is to survive the early game. That's going to be kind of troublesome because of the bot lane. The G2 got 2 lanes that don't really care about getting heavily resources. They only care about securing the resources into the Draven. And basically, if the Team Heretics draft is going to be play on even, especially in terms of bot lane, you are kind of happy with it, So the importance of the Elise in this draft is to provide safety, especially from the bot lane and for the mid lane. These are the 2 lanes that are the most possible gank objectives for the Jarvan. so you want to secure them. We'll talk about later how you want to do this. Jace got pretty much free matchup on the Malphite till level 6. So job of Jace in this draft is to make as big leads as possible till level 6. Because from level 6, life of Jace on the mid lane is kind of troublesome. Because if they are able to spot Elise, that is, for example, not covering mid lane, it's really easy to burn the flash from the Jace and then repeat this gang and kill him. So till level 6, he got kind of free lane. Heretics should provide him early vision to cover him, and then he can play really aggressively on this lane, make early leads, provide him a better recalls, etc. At level 6, it's, getting kind of different. You still can dominate the lane, but the thing is that you need to be aware of Malphite having level 6 and possibility of Jarvan being somewhere near and killing you or burning your flesh. And in the end, we got Xayah Rakan. So Xayah overall is really good into the compositions that are engaging into her, but basically what G2 did in this draft is that they basically overloaded their draft with the engage tools. Basically, all of these champions, besides Draven, got some kind of tool that can force Xayah to use her ultimate, right? So we got ultimate of Malphite, we got Flag and Drag from Jarvan, ultimate of Jarvan, we got Gragas Barrel, we got Trashhoot. So there are many threats for Xayah in this draft. So basically, it's not working so good. But as I said, if Xayah keeps to be even in this draft, and don't let Draven to get tremendously ahead, you are still fine. It's still playable for you, right? Because the worst moment of the game is that when Draven is so fat that basically he's all-inning you all the time. He don't even need these ultimates to kill you, right? So then, besides these threats, there is coming these threats that basically Draven can force you to use your ultimate and you are really screwed. And in the end, we got Rakan, really mobile champion. Tool of Rakan, as we said, as the whole bot lane is not to get the bot lane of G2 too much leads in the early game. And also when Rakan got windows, securing the vision to track the Jarvan to covering Jace. So I think there's this one big point in the draft of Heretics that I don't really like. Besides the fact that I think this draft is kind of hard to play, especially to what G2 drafted. I mean, it's possible to play with it, but I said you don't have really much spots to make mistakes in the game. But the biggest issue for me in Heretics draft is that you basically don't have the face check champion that can possibly face check some bushes, etc. Because Rakan is not this kind of champion. You don't want to face check Xayah of her ultimate. Face checking by Jace is not possible. And then you got Elise, but basically there are spots in which, when Elise is going to jump in the air, she don't have spots to escape, so she's dead. Or there are many spots when she won't be able to even use it because she's going to be dead. So this leaves us Gwen, but Gwen through most of the early mid game, obviously she's going to be topside, right? And even Gwen is not good face checking tool, She can deny some of the threats with her ability, but it's not like she's a perfect face checking tool. So that leaves us to the conclusion that Heretics in the mid game is going to struggle with the fights, that they will need to go into the terrain that is already secured by the G2. And if G2 got key ultimates in that fight, it's really, really hard for the Heretics to push forward and take its advantage. On the other hand, if the Heretics got control of the terrain, it's easier for them. They got some poke tools. But I said, if the Draven is ahead, if the opponent got all of the ultimates up, it's still pretty hard. So it's not easy draft to play, obviously. Okay, so let's go to the game. So the main conclusion, Heretics want to play this draft safely through early game. They want to not let Draven to get ahead, right? And when it comes to first rake, I believe that the only points when you can take the first rake is when Malphite got level 5. So basically it's around 5 minutes. If Malphite is not going to, perfect farm, getting all of XP. So you got this small window when Malphite don't have level 6, so basically this is making him kind of useless champion. But on the other hand, I can imagine that G2 is going to have permanent pressure from bot lane, so basically the early Drake from Team Heretics are really hard to play, and there comes the Herald, and I do believe that Herald in this game is really big bait for the Heretics. In that manner, we'll talk about it also, and then I will play the game. So the thing is that if G2 is not going to play for the Heralds, but they are going to secure the cross map, the problem with it is that this is not good for you as a Team Heretics, because most probably with the champions that got G2, that can force really strong dive threats, and as I said, they want to put all resources into the Draven. It's not good for you to even waste like 30 seconds to take the Herald, you know. And we need to add to the back, for example, of Elise and covering bot lane. It's not actually good for you. So if the G2 got possibility of cross mapping your bot lane, if the game is even, you don't want to cross map it. You don't want to take Herald and give this possibility, because this is the main point of the draft of G2. They want to get ahead, so you don't want to give them this window. If G2 don't have any possibility to take cross map bot and you can take the Herald, yeah, sure. Then you want to do this in most cases. But if the possibility of strong cross map play from the G2 is going to be into your bot lane, basically you want to defend it and not give this window when you are taking the Herald, right? The different thing is that when G2 is contesting the Herald, if there's going to be situation in Heretics for some reason, yeah, it's kind of different, because then most probably G2 needs to have Draven here, you know, because this fight can also benefit Draven, but you need to have him here, right? So, okay, let's go to the game. So for both teams, the information about the buffing of Jarvan and Elise is kind of important. And here we are going to have like already two things. As you can see, the Jace is putting his ward here. So he's going to put this ward, obviously, to spot where is the Jarvan. He can see the Jarvan. This timing shows up that he's going to start from the bot lane. But I don't really like the fact that Jace is putting this ward, because how the bot lane is going to be played, they are going to be pushed. Bot lane of Team Heretics is going to be pushed. It's going to be in a situation when they are not having like a spot for the ward for like 4 to 5 waves, because they are going to be permanently pushed. You don't want to invest your ward for the lane. It doesn't really matter in this matchup. The only ward that Team Heretics needs to have is basically this ward, just to see if the enemy is going to dive them or do any kind of cheese. So basically, this is one thing, that bot lane of G2 putting ward here, one of them is much more efficient. And the other thing is that when Jace got one ward here, let's say Jarvan didn't clear it, right, at this spot, then Jace got 3 wards that he can put for the other side, right? So when he will be sure that Jarvan left this area, for example, once here, he can put another ward on the top side. Right now, Jace don't have wards, and what's worse, this ward is cleared. I don't think that G2 is going to pull a lot of trigger to play around the mid lane, but this is unnecessary risk that you shouldn't take. And this is, as I said, not efficient in terms of your warding. You prefer your bot lane that is not going to have much spots for the first 5 waves to ward here, and Jace is having wards that he can put even deeply, you know, because Jace is going to be having much more spots to put it, right? Okay, so this is the first thing. And another thing is that Elise is buffing from top side. So at first I thought, because there's tremendous pressure from bots, and I don't think that Elise can make free camp top. And this is what is going to actually happen. And Elise is going to be punished for it. So I was thinking about the two options. First of it is that Elise is just going to start from the blue. That is not like the best clear for her, best clear start. But you can take it, because after taking these free camps, Elise is going to be sure, right, that about the state of her bot lane. So if the state is going to be that your bot lane might get doped on the free stack, on the cannon stack, third wave, she's going to be already in this place, and she already took her hands, right? So she's ready to interact with her bot lane to defend it. if nothing's going to happen, she can just go into the top lane, right? And the other clear is that she can do the red into the Gromp blue, okay, or wolf. It depends, but I think this is also a possibility for you, because you are taking the red buff. That is kind of important if you predict that they are going to be early skirmishes. Yes, you are leaving the raptors, but raptors are going to be uncontested in this wave, right? In this game, right? It's really hard to invade raptors for the Jarvan when the Heretic got 2 pushing lanes like this. And also, invading raptors in this game is not the priority of the Jarvan. Priority of the Jarvan is to secure pressure in the bot lane, right? So that's why I think the pathing of Elise is really disjointed from what she wants to actually do in that game, what her team wants to be doing, right? Because he wants to deny the early pressure from the enemy bot lane. So the game is played, and obviously G2 is having the pressure. They have control over the wave. And here we got kind of interesting thing in this game, because obviously G2 got full autonomy on the lane, so they got the highest possible control of the lane, right? They can do whatever they want right now with this wave. So this is interesting, because G2 is deciding to crash the second wave. And what is the problem with second wave crash so late, right? Because they're going to crash it late. They will make the bounce back of the third wave for the team Heretics, so that third wave of the G2 is going to be here, and third wave of the team Heretic is going to be here. So that means that the team Heretic is going to have the better position to take the wave of the team of the G2, right? So basically Team Heretics is going to most probably take this wave and take away the threat of being dived on the cannon wave, and also have the first level free. So this will let them breathe for a while, right? Obviously there is going to be bounce back if G2 wants to play around this, but obviously denying the possibility of dive from the G2 is kind of interesting here. And to be completely honest, I don't like it. I think that threatening dive with the free stack is better for you. I think you have much better 3v3 bot lane. If you think about Jace coming here, because someone might think that Jace is completely free, right? Because Jace got also really big pressure, right? And he could use his priority that he's creating right now here to go bot. And in some cases, yes, but at this point, it's also kind of risky for the Jace, because basically, as we said, he don't have ward, he's going to have it soon, but right now he's playing blindly. And the moment when the Jace is going to buff for this wave, and Team Heretics, let's say, don't have information about this spot, it's also possible for the G2 just to collapse on the Jace and burn his flash. This is like the secondary possibility. So actually Jace cannot go like totally freely through this buffing and cover bot. It's also risky for him because he's squishy champion, can provide a lot of burst, but it's squishy as hell, right? Don't have any escape mechanic besides the flash that you obviously don't want to burn because you're playing versus the Malphite in Jarvan, and Malphite at level 6 is going to be really troublesome. So it's not also like Jace can just go like this. But G2 decided to crash the second wave. They got good wards. As I said, this is the ward that Team Heretics botline needs to put. It does spots. And because Jankos decided to make free camp clear here, he is deciding right now to cross mapping here. And I think this is actually a good decision from here. Because if there's no dive threat right now, and there's no dive threat right now, because this wave is going to be really deep, Team Heretics waves are going to be stacked. So there is not really dive threat on Team Heretics. If there would be the cannon wave stack, yes, Jankos needs to cover it. Jankos needs to defend this because this is total disaster if the Team Heretics botlane is going to collapse. But right now, I don't think there's a pressure, as you can see, for the dive, right? This next wave is going to be so close to the Team Heretics tower that they can very safely, take it. So there is no dive threat for the Team Heretics. So actually, I think this decision is good to go like this because there's no big threat for the Team Heretics. But overall, I think pathing of Elise is really bad, and Team Heretics bot lane could be punished really, really heavily for this decision. But okay, we got this. Jace is creating the leads, he's having trading. Actually, Elise don't have information, right, about how much time Jarvan is spending in her bot side. He decided not to take the Gromp, but still Elise got really small window right now to go for the dive on the Gragas. And this is also not so bad, right? Because, yeah, the CS difference is on the bot lane really visible, but this is not the spot that your bot lane is going to die, so you are happy with it. And if you get the kill on Gragas, it's really good. You got a window for to do this. But unfortunately, Elise is missing the cocoon. And yeah, I think I don't need to tell. Gwen should be dead here, but she didn't burn for the red buff. But this dive was really bad. Overall decision, I think it can work in this scenario, but the way that they played it was really poor. Okay, sorry, I got cold. So as we said, this dive top lane was a good possibility, but the way that they played it was really bad. But there is another tragedy coming, because the bot lane is trading really hard, and the Team Heretics traded the HP of the Thresh for the Xayah, and also traded the Summoner's Xayah for the Thresh. The wave, as far as I could see, was pushing towards the Team Heretics, so in that manner it's not worth it, especially because G2 is going to focus so heavily on this bot lane. Not having flash on Xayah is really big deal, especially when she's not having her level 6. So this trade is definitely not worth it, and it's completely missing the points how the Team Heretics should play this. They should gently take this wave and then got bounce back, then maybe crush it if they got the window, or wait for the Elise to come to cover them. But this is not the way that you want to play this, because you are, making it even harder without the flash. So it was not good. Yeah, Draven is getting the recall on the cannon wave. If Elise would have flash, I can imagine that there was possibility to play it. But I think at the same time they were aware of the possibility of Jarvan running here in that place, the same timing as Elise, so I think they didn't want to pull the trigger here. Rakan was trying to stop the recall, I believe. Yeah, he was trying to stop the recall. It was actually decent for it. Okay, and we are getting back to the. I think this is the one of the most important part of the games. What is going to happen here? So basically, when we look at the bot lane of G2 got tremendous advantage at this point, and in straight 3v3 they are going to lose to win. I mean, almost every situation. And the Team Heretics got this bounce back into G2. And basically, the Team Heretics need to do something with it, right? Because they don't want to leave Xayah losing the creeps if the G2 is going to keep it in this spot. So, as I said, it's really hard for the Team Heretics to play it from bot lane. They are going actually to make it, but I think it's a really bad thing. So, this is a really good screen. So, we can see that Ruby is taking advantage of the mid, right? He's going to have stack of this and this wave right now. Elise is going to see Jarvan. They saw Jarvan in that spot before, so they got some intel about the Jarvan when he is. So what Team Heretics should do right now is that they should identify that at this spot they are just weaker on the bot lane, right? They need to do something with this lane state that they got like here, but 3v3 they are just, you know, they are just losing. So you need to use the tools that you have on the map, and obviously we don't we don't want Evi to TP here or something like this, but we got this pressure from mids, and we get full information about where is the Jarvan. So it's not like the Jace is going to be caught here in the middle, right? So what Team Heretics should identify right now is to call the Jace to hard shove this wave right now, and come with the Elise into the bot. And there are two possibilities. One of them is that they are going to be 4v3, that G2 might not take on the bot lane, so Team Heretics is going to crush this wave. And the second one is that Malphite will lose the 1.5 the wave on the mid, and he will ignore this wave to go here. This is the not so possible option, but it can happen because Malphite is really strong with his ultimate. But at least in that case, Malphite is losing a lot of creeps, a lot of XP, right? So right now we should have the Jace move towards the mid, but we are not having it. So Team Heretics is deciding to, let's be honest, kind of flip the situation. This is like pure flip. If Jarvan is here, they are going to be dead, and they are playing too aggressive on this lane. If they would like to play with Jace, they should chill. They should wait for the Jace to be in the spot when he's threatening, and then they should pressure the wave. But right now they are playing straightforward 3v3. Xayah don't have flash because she burned it in a really stupid way. And yeah, we could say that this is basically GG, right? The Draven got killed. The Draven got his passive gold that he accumulated. So it's really damn bad. But there's another thing. There would be another way that Team Heretics could solve this situation. So, because they saw Jarvan coming here right now, what could happen is that Jace already knows that he got stuck off the wave, and basically Team Heretics understand that right now they got this push towards the enemy that they need to solve in some way, right? So what could happen also here is Malphite don't have level 6, he's going to have it really soon, but he's not having it. So basically Elise could come mid and force the mid prio even quicker on this coming wave, right? On this wave, and just run bots, you know, together. So this could also work. It's almost the same wave, so that the crash of the mid would be on this wave, and on this wave the Heretics would be crushing this, right? So it would be the wave before. It will be on 530 wave, let's say like this. And the second possibility was on this wave. So it was, let's say, on this 6-minute wave, right? So there were two possibilities for the Team Heretic to make this crush bot possible with the mid move, but they decided to not do this. They play over aggressive. They let Jarvan to see the opening, and yeah, there are 2 kills. But there's another thing that is happening right now. So the situation on the bot lane is dead, and Jace is clearing this ward. Obviously this is some reason, right? He's just going to clear this ward that was in the pink. Yeah, I mean in the pixel brush. But what is Jace doing right now? Because Malphite got ultimate, level 6, on bot lane nothing is going to happen. So this is the first wave that Malphite can play proactively on the map. And this is not like because Malphite or his team give him this opportunity. Jace gave him this opportunity to leaving the mid. So Jace is not contesting the 630 wave right now. Bot lane is not going to happen anything. So the wave mid is uncontested. So that gives the Caps free opening to go top. This is kind of unfortunate because they didn't see Malphite. But whole this situation with move Malphite top lane is like Jace said, okay bro, you can have this window. You got kill bots that we didn't accurate with my move, and right now I will give you move top that you can use and kill Gwen right now, right? So this is like double strategy. So first of all, Team Heretics didn't use the mid move that they should have, and right now they gave the Malphite G2 possibility of making this move top lane. They are going to get 2 kills on Elise, but it's still not good, you know. In that case, it's still not good. We'll slightly skip this game, because as I said, I don't want to make this really long review. So, as I said, right now, Heretics is identifying, okay, we got tempo advantage. We are using the move from Rakan right now to secure this this Herald. So, as I said, Herald is a really big bait for the team Heretics. And because the moment when they take the Herald, especially when they are committing so many resources right now to this Herald, so they are committing Rakan, they are committing Jace, they are committing Elise, they are not contesting the mid wave right now. So again, Team Heretics is giving the perfect opening for the G2 to cross map, to make this Xayah in even more painful state in the game, and to give the Draven even more leads right now. So I think this is really, really bad decision. And they are not even, as I said, contesting in the mid wave. So this is really troublesome. And this is what G2 are looking at, and I say, okay, take it. Take these Heralds. We'll play our game and we'll just win. Because this Herald is bait, especially when, you know, Herald got nerfed. He's not providing you with the hit so many resources. And the difference is that G2 right now got perfect cross map to their win condition. You know, when you take the Herald, you are using the Herald in 2 phases, right? First phase is that you need to contest it, right? Contest this Herald. So basically, you can contest it, but to get the full value of the Herald, you need to use it, right? And the funny thing with this is that Heretics in the current state of the game, they are not going to have many good opportunities to use this Herald in the second phase, you know? And G2 right now got perfect opportunity to punish it with cross map on the bot lane. Because as I said, mid wave is not even contested, so Malphite can just move straight forward towards the bot lane. So I think this is the bait of the Heralds that Team Heretics took. I think the right play right now is that, okay, don't give Draven even more resources. So at this point, when they took the control over this area, they need to retake this mid wave to at least not Malphite, you know, to get it. Then they can live in the fog of war. And if they see only Draven here, it's okay. Then like Xayah can play 1v1 versus Draven on bot, right? It's not the biggest strategy. But if they see Trash bots, if they see Draven bot, it's already showing the Team Heretics that the enemy is going to take this cross map play, you know. So it's still not really good situation because Team Heretics made a lot of mistake in every game. But I believe this is the way that you should play. You cannot take this obvious baits. I mean, not obvious, right? But when you think more about this and you see what Xayah is going to lose right now, it's them a lot, you know. Right, so Draven, I believe, is going to take 2 plates. Xayah is going to don't take the 2 waves because I believe she was, not allowed to take the wave when the Draven was here, and she was here, so she was already losing the creeps. Right now, she's losing the full minion wave, so we can say that already the possible Herald play that Team Heretics are going to make, and as we said, they are most probably going to have a bad Herald play. Already G2 got more gold, and also they got camps. So basically, G2 got like almost twice as much as Team Heretics is going to take with this Herald. It's not worth it, you know, at this point. And what is even worse, the Team Heretics, foundation donation is going to donate a kill to Draven. So it's even worse at this spot. And it should just never happen, you know. And as you can see, G2 even didn't use this move Malphite that he had on this wave, on this 830 wave, right? Because right now, Malphite got free move into the bot lane. Okay, I think I really badly cut this. Okay, so Heretics was forced to cheese something in that situation, right? They were able to cheese the kill on the Jarvan and Thresh. I mean, it's kind of good. This is like the best possible outcome that the Heretics could have from this situation. But as I said, it was like cheese from the Yankons in the bush. He had to use his flash, hit the cocoon, and this is the only way that it could work. But it did work. So actually, Team Heretics got a not so bad herald, you know, but it's still not good, you know, at this point of the game. But I mean, we can take it if we had heralds. I doubt that they are going to have any better spots to do this at this point of the game. And I believe that this is the last situation I'm going to review from this game. As I said, I just want to make it kind of short and like from the most important situations, in my opinion. So this is the moment when Team Heretic is retaking control over these heralds. Okay, so basically G2 is like leaving this herald at this point. Yeah, the Gwen decided not to take the top wave, so she completely left the top tower at this point. And they put a lot of resources into this herald. And I want to mention it because this is, I think this is like, I mean, I know that this is another bait herald in that game. This is not as bad as the first one, but I just want to talk talk about it because actually Heretics are losing kind of a lot of resources, right, from the sides right now, because both sides are going to be pushed from the G2. But the another thing is that let's talk about the mid tower. So the only way that the G2 can abuse towers, obviously mid tower is kind of low, unfortunately, but G2 can abuse the towers, especially mid towers, only if they are getting good tempo advantage. So basically Draven can stand near the tower on any other champion and take it. Or they can do this by diving. There are two ways that they can do this, and Team Heretics got kind of decent tools, you know, with the Jace, with the Xayah to defend this tower, you know, from the long range. And safety, for example, with Xayah ultimate. So this mid tower is kind of important for the Heretic. And this is really marvelous how G2 played this situation, because again they gave them this heralds. They said, okay, take it. And right now G2 got top tower from it, right? And they got double side pressure. So what is going to happen right now is that Heretics obviously needs to send 2 champions to the sides, right, to retake these waves and establish them in the way that Heretics want to play with them, right? So maybe push 2 waves, maybe stack wave, push it. It depends, right, from the situation. But what is the most important right now, that G2 understand that there are going to be 2 champions in the sides. I believe that they understand what is the TP potential of the Heretics. So there is no potential of the TP right now. So the G2 is doing this simplest thing right now. They are just going to use this information, use this double pressure from sides to either move to mid, take it, or just recall and fork into the mid, right? So basically when Heretics decided to put so many resources into taking this herald, they secretly agreed to leave the mid turret right now, right? And it's not like they need to dive it. Xayah needs to, you know, respect that there are people behind, right, from this side, and if she oversteps, she's going to be dead, right? And there needs to be 2 people that were taking these waves, right? So this is really clever from the G2 how they played it, but it's this herald play, you know. And losing mid tower, as I said, it shouldn't be so easy, right, in this turn composition. But basically this is not most important thing, right? This is like the amount of mistakes that Heretics made and G2 used into their advantage was so big that this state of the game is really, really hard to play. Okay, but in the end, I just want to talk for a second. Let's say the game is even. Okay, let's say the game is even, Heretics didn't make this mistake. So how you should actually play with this team comp, you know? Because as I said, it's not the easiest team comp. But if you are not feeding the Draven in such a big amount, you know, there are 2 things that you need to consider in every every fight, you know, in every stage of the game. So basically, the most important thing is that you play for the Gwen spikes, right? So basically, Gwen is going to be incredibly strong on the side lane, and as well, she's going to provide a lot of damage in team fights, right? So the Gwen spikes are really important for you, and basically Gwen is going to provide you this side lane play. The second thing is that when this composition would like to play fights, even in late game, when you are strong, you cannot take these face check possibilities against this champion, you know? So this is the first thing. So first thing is split push. The second thing is to, you know, fighting, always being faster than opponent on the objective that you want to contest. And the third thing what you should do, and it's kind of connected with this, is that with the pressure of the Gwen on side when she is strong, you should really hard try to force at least one of these ultimates, you know, because most probably on the side is going to be either Malphite or Gragas, right? So what Team Heretics should do in the middle late game, they should just, before, let's say, the Drake fight, they should pressure the sides or play with the state that is going to put, let's say, Malphite in a bad position, force his ultimate so that he's not having this one engage tool on the Drake, so it's much easier for you to play it, you know. So this is the first thing. And the fourth thing that we can add is only playing around the flash. Flashes are like triple as much worth than in normal game in this game. And I believe if Team Heretics would play around this, and the early game could be slightly, you know, better from them, I mean, not slightly, much better for them, they could contest this game. But definitely we need to say that G2 draft is much easier. And as I said, one mistake from Team Heretics and it's like, you know, domino effect in this draft. It's really hard to come back to this game. Okay, so I think that's all for today's video. As I always say, feel free to comment, feel free, you know, to say if you have different opinion about something. It's really important for me, you know, in terms of getting better as a coach. I think every point of view is really important to get to this, you know, bigger picture of the game. And thank you for watching. That's all.